Welcome to the Discover Me podcast, where we bring you amazing people doing remarkable things in a very influential way. And I'm Lavanna.
And I'm Bryant. And today we have with us Ronnie Brewer, NBA veteran, entrepreneur, radio show host, and basketball coach. Thank you for joining us today. How's it going?
Pretty good. Thank y'all for having me.
Yes,
no
thank
problem.
you.
Absolutely. So let's just get right into it. So the first question I have is, obviously everyone knows you as a NBA player, a basketball player, or a Razorback for me. I grew up watching you. Not that you're that much older than me, but I watched you for a while. But that's not your whole story. So can you tell us a little bit about who Ronnie Brewer is?
Yeah, man. I'm just a kid. I was born in Portland, Oregon. My dad played for the Trailblazers. After he retired, we ended up moving to Fayetteville, Arkansas, so he could finish his degree. I lived in Fayetteville my entire life. I went through kindergarten, through college. I was blessed enough to receive a scholarship to go play at the University of Arkansas. Went there for 3 years, went to the NBA, drafted 14th by the Utah Jazz, and had a lengthy NBA career. And I came back and settled in Fayetteville because it's home to me. And once I retired, people think that you could play basketball forever, but I played 9 years in the league, and when I finished, I was 30 years old. So I had a whole life to live, and I had to come with the crossroads, like what do I want to do from here? And so, I know my upbringing, to be involved in the community. So, when I was playing, we created the Ronnie Brewer Foundation, where we give back to the community in an array of different initiatives. We've partnered with multiple local charities here in the Northwest Arkansas area. That was one of the things that was passionate for me. Created my basketball camp that, last year due to COVID was the first year we hadn't had it since 2006. But we'll start that back up next summer. It's something my dad did, and just wanted to carry on the legacy and give back to the community. And then I just came to think, like, what else did I want to do in life? There was so much stuff I wanted to do. And I had a degree in broadcast journalism, and I didn't know if I wanted to be on the radio, if I wanted to write, if I wanted to be like, do something in magazines and newspapers. So, me, Wallace Spearman, Aaron Peters created the Power Hour radio show, that we've been doing for a couple of years. It's growing every Wednesday on 99.5. Something I was passionate about, be able to talk about local high school sports, recruiting, Arkansas sports, NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL. We talk about it all. We have callers that call in, and it's a really good time, and I'm able to do it with some of my friends. I have a hair company that my sister and my mother run, Hair Couture. It's going on 11 years that we've been in business. So, we sell hair products, we have hair extensions, wigs, beauty supplies, products, jewelry, and on occasion we'll have stylists or people who do braids in there. So it's something that's been very strong, and Black-owned business. That's been pushing for a long time, and I've invested in a lot of different things. We've got a painting company in Destin, Florida. CertaPro Northwest, one of my best friends runs it, and got some real estate around here. I got into trucking, and I started Brew Crew Transportation, but now I just lease the trucks out because I didn't really know too much about it. It's a lot less of a headache. So I try to diversify my time and my passions. My number one passion is giving back to the youth. So I had the opportunity to take a job with one of my best friends, Brad Stamps, at my alma mater at Fayetteville High School, to be a basketball coach and teach oral communication. So I just finished my second year. We'll start my next year, going my third year. And, in my spare time, I coach an AAU basketball team, the Arkansas Woods Elite. So I try to spend my time very wisely, and kind of gravitate to things that I'm passionate about, and, helping youth and different student athletes achieve their goals. That's something that's close to my heart, and that I try to do the best I can to help these kids put their best foot forward.
Okay.
That's a lot. I mean, hey, that's I knew you had a few things going on, but you got a lot more. Yeah. I thought I bet it keeps you busy too. So
Yeah, you know, I try to stay busy, but at the same time, you know, yes,
Keeping
my
our
mom.
kids busy.
Yeah, my mom is always like, "Man, you're always doing this, doing that." And I was like, "Well, I'd rather be busy than staying home, being complacent." And so, and especially when it's something you're passionate about and you're trying to help and make a difference in the world and in your community, it doesn't really seem like work. You know, you enjoy it every day, and that's something I'm blessed to be able to say.
Well, I love it that you consider Fayetteville, Arkansas, your home. It wasn't where you were born, but it was where you were raised. And it sounds like you, a lot of values were instilled in you that now you're bringing it back home and giving it to the kids. I absolutely love that, that you're returning something that was probably invested in you during your youth.
Absolutely, and that's, to be honest, that's really kind of how I live my life now.
Yeah.
You know, growing up here in Fayetteville, and as well as probably anywhere in Arkansas, the Razorbacks are the big show,
no doubt,
and the mountaintop. So for me, you know, growing up, I wanted to one day just be a Razorback. I could remember in my mind, throughout the years, elementary and junior high and high school, different Razorbacks along the way coming to our school and providing mentorship. And that stuck with me for a long time, because I was like, man, you know, when I grow up, I want to be a Razorback. I told my mom, if I was blessed enough to be able to play NBA basketball at the highest level, that I wanted to come back and use my platform and use my voice for good.
Yeah.
And, you know, to me, I'm a living testimony to these young kids, because, you know, no matter how big your goal is or how crazy it sounds, you know, if you put your mind to it and you work hard and you trust in God and you trust in your parents and your mentors, that anything is possible. You know, I walk the same hallways and I walk the same community centers as these young kids. And for me to be able to come back and be able to tell them what was told to me by different mentors, and be able to show them that, hey, man, you know, I was right in the same seats and in the same hallways, and be able to provide guidance and mentorship to those kids means a lot. And I think it goes a long way for them, because, you know, I think that they have something that they can relate to and be like, hey, man, I do see him in my school on the wall. I do see him walking around my school. I see stuff around the community that he's done in the community. And you know, so for some of those kids, like, they were too young to even see me play basketball in the NBA or in college. And so it's just something that they see. But being able to tell them my story and just, you know, encourage them to, you know, if it's even like, you know, 5 minutes volunteering their time makes a huge difference. And I think I've seen the difference.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure their parents remember.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So talking about the Razorbacks, so somebody here is from Alabama.
Oh,
and I got her watching
Really?
Razorbacks now. So
yes, they have become my third team.
All right.
Third because, of course, Alabama and Auburn. Okay, I'll say my second because Alabama and Auburn are one for me.
Yeah.
Second team, I'll back up and correct that. That yes, Arkansas Razorbacks, they are my second team.
So one of the things you mentioned was AAU. I want to know, like, so what was it that took you? Because AAU takes a lot of players to that next level. I know we got a player from my home school, high school right now that's really big in AAU and that's really big on the Arkansas radar, and I'm hoping he goes. But what was that took you to the next level to get to Arkansas and then the NBA?
Well, just support. You know, a lot of kids throughout the state are hidden gems. And just to be able to keep your ear to the ground. Like, you know, I don't really, you know, if you know me or you follow me, and for those who don't, you know, I'm a pretty open book. I don't get caught up with associations, what team you play for. If you're a youth in the state of Arkansas, I'm going to support you. I'm going to try to promote you. I'm going to try to put you on a pedestal. and a platform for you to get recruitable. And so for me, just the support thing when I was coming through, just having a great support system. My mom and dad were supportive. I have coaches along the way that, pushed me and encouraged me to strive for greatness. And they put me in situations to do so. And for me as a coach, the reason why I wanted to get back is, I wanted to teach the game the right way. Giving back to the game is encouraging the next generation on how to do things the right way. And so that was a passion of mine, why I got involved. Granted, do we have a good team? Yes. Do we have good players? Yes. Is it my job to help them get recruitable or give them scholarships? Yes. But to instill them the hard work, dedication, and discipline that it takes to get to the next level, allows them to prepare for life. And, like I said before, if it's guys on my team or any other team, I'm going to encourage them, support them, and I'm going to try to put them in a platform and a pedestal to get showcased by different coaches, no matter where they're from.
Absolutely. And the support goes a long way, well beyond anyone could ever imagine. Like that's the number one thing that I think we all need, and especially our kids, our youth going and starting life, whatever it is, support is the number one thing that is needed to ensure that success is checked off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, when you're coaching, like you're a high school coach right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is it like? I know you said most of them don't even remember you, but I feel like, man, what is it like coaching someone at at the high school level, when you play at the NBA?
Well, again, a lot of those kids don't remember, some of them were like in my basketball camp when they were a little kid, and others don't. But, when I first got there, it was a kind of a gray area learning area, on how to address me and be around me. Just because like at my high school, they got my jersey out there. They've got a banner, in the gym, my stuff being retired and whatnot. And, just having the kids buy in to, we're in the day of age that, some kids are more stubborn than in the past, and maybe think that they know everything when they really don't. And so that was like a gray area where it's like, okay, let me get these guys to buy in. And then you got a group of guys that are like, our coach played in the NBA, he was an All-American in college and high school. And, he's only going to do what he thinks best for us. And so having them do that and believe in what I'm teaching them has been really good. And it's been really, really fun for me to see that growth as student athletes. When it comes to me, all the kids are like, oh man, Coach Brewer's, he's hard on us. He's harder in the classroom than he is on the court. Because
supposed to be.
and I tell them all the time, I was like, guys, you can't really have one without the other. Like you can't be an All-American on the court and a failure in the classroom, because it doesn't go hand in hand. And so, I really love it, really enjoyed it, and the kids have been great so far.
Oh, good. I have a question because I know you. So discovering yourself during this time of teaching kids, was that different than like knowing your own talents and your own abilities, and then having to shift into figuring those talents, abilities, and pushing the kids? Was that a different, what was that transition like?
Well, my dad always told me like to be even keel, and keep a straight head on your shoulders when I was a young age. And so I knew as a player, some players are not going to be as good as me.
Yeah.
But if I encourage them and built them up, that all it takes is somebody to believe in you. It goes a long way. And so I used that in high school, I carried that with my professional career. And then when I got into the coaching and teaching, that's all it is allowing somebody to believe in themselves, giving them better self-confidence. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody's going to believe in you. And so for me, recognizing these guys' talents, knowing that they might not be as talented as I was, but if I could break the game down where on a smaller level, small accomplishments, to encourage them the best way I possibly can, and allow them to build self-confidence and allow them to work towards something, and a common goal goes a long way. And so that's all I did, was try to encourage these kids, encourage their talents, and gave them a goal on something to shoot for and try to get better. And that I think they've taken to it, and they made the adjustment, and they're doing the best they possibly can.
Okay.
All right. You have some?
No.
Okay. Like, me. So I want to know also, so you mentioned you have several businesses, you have nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
How was it going into that the business world? How was that shit?
Yeah. Well, it was pretty scary. Coming in the NBA at 21, you go from being a struggling student athlete to, now you're now in the limelight of a professional athlete. I always tell people, man, you don't always have to be the smartest person in the room. My mom always told me, like, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. And so for me, I asked a lot of questions. I have a lot of passions. If I would be lying to you, be like, hey, I'm the best businessman ever. I'm not. But what I've learned throughout the years of building a team and surrounding yourself with people that are positive, that are in the know, that might know in a specific area more than you, benefits you, and it allows you to be more successful when you surround yourself with a good team. Just like in basketball, like, a lot of people in the NBA feel like, this guy's got to do it by himself and he has to live on his own and make it on his own. Well, no, that's not really how it works. And that's not how it works in the business world either. You build yourself a good, complete team that, you can trust in people, and their strengths and their weaknesses, and you try to focus on their strengths and leaning on them to what they know the best. And so that's basically how I got in my businesses, almost every single one of them. Real estate, I knew a group of people that they're passionate about it and was in the know. And so I invested in that. And, my sister was very passionate about, the hair store, Hair Couture. Obviously I don't have any hair, and I don't I don't wear wigs or anything like that. So I have to lean on somebody that's, more in the know, and is a professional in that aspect. When it came to trucking company, I had no idea about trucking, but I reached out to people that knew about trucking and was able to build a successful trucking company, and then figured out, hey, it's a little more money and less stress and overhead if you just lease them out and allow everybody else to do the work. The nonprofit that I built a board and a foundation to all with the same vision to work towards a common goal. And so it was a trend that I continued to do, where building a team and executing a plan to allow something to be successful. And that's kind of how I live my life. A lot of people were like, oh, I'm gonna do it by myself, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And that's fine. I'm not knocking those type of people. Just the way that I was raised and the stuff that I've learned along the way, it's better to put a good team in place and be able to bounce ideas off of multiple people and then come up with a solution and try to execute that plan to make it work.
No doubt. What they say, focus on what you're good at and outsource the rest.
Absolutely.
No doubt. I'll tell you, it is scary because we're in that world, or we just recently entered that world ourselves. So Yeah, and we're military, so doing that was a big change. But
Yeah.
we're working on it,
Absolutely.
and it's working out. At this point, we're going to quick six. So
Yeah.
So we got this game called Quick Six where we ask you 6 questions. You come up with the first answer that comes to mind.
Okay.
All right. So
Seafood or steak?
Steak.
treadmill or outside?
Treadmill.
Coaching or playing?
Playing.
All right. 3-pointer or dunk?
A dunk for sure.
Car or truck?
A car.
Okay.
All right. Vacations, Hawaii or Greece?
Hawaii. I've never been to Greece.
Hawaii is nice. Hawaii is nice.
Hawaii is really nice. I went to Maui a couple of times and it was really, really nice. Can't say Greece because I've never been there, but maybe one day.
Okay.
I feel like we might go to Greece. We made this deal with our 15-year-old that if she got valedictorian, that we would take her to Greece, and she had straight A's ever since. So
I think we're on the hook for that.
I was
one.
banking on like a B or something like that. We'll see. All right, so back at we got one more question.
Okay.
What advice would you give any athlete who has dreams of playing at the D1 level or in the NBA?
One, I would say set your goals extremely high. If somebody doesn't think your goals are crazy, then I don't think you're selling yourself a little bit short. Once you set that goal as high as you possibly can, you kind of got to go back to the basics. You know, nothing came easy to anybody. And so you've got to keep your head to the ground and work as hard as you possibly can. And when you think you're working as hard as you possibly can, go back to the drawing board and find a way to work even harder and smarter. Mm-hmm. And for me, you know, I learned that, you know, in junior high, I thought I was working really, really hard until I went to high school and I saw other high school guys working harder. So then I had to go back to the drawing board and be like, hey, I got to come up with a new plan because if they're outworking me, I'm not doing my job. So went to the drawing board, went to work. You know, now I'm in high school, about to go to college. I go and meet some guys in college. You know, they're working extremely hard. I knew for me to be successful, you know, I had to work harder than them. And then in the NBA, you have all these elite athletes. You know, I'm an honest guy. Like, I know that I wasn't the best player in the NBA, but I know for me to stay there for multiple years and have the career I did, I had to outwork my opponent. And, you know, that's the, you know, backbone to me that in any situation, any occupation, for you to succeed, is you have to outwork the next man or woman. And if you think that and have that mentality, you'll go a long way.
You know what? A lot of people say that too, that you said going back to the drawing board. I know a person who was really good in football. Like, I'm talking about one of the top players in the state, and he went to the NFL and made it maybe 2 years, and his words were, "They're fast."
Yeah.
Like, well, man, you were fast too. So you're basically going back to the drawing board. I think you kind of touched on it too. So I know I said that was the last question. When you went to the NBA, how? Because you know you were great in college, you're good in the NBA, but how did you go back to the drawing board multiple times? Because that's a major jump.
Yes. So, you know, just to tell a little bit about myself, like when I was in high school, I averaged like almost 30 points a game, like 9 rebounds and 7 assists. In college, I led the SEC in scoring with 19 points a game. So I get drafted 14th. I'm assuming y'all want me to continue to do what I've been doing my whole entire life, and that's be the basketball player I am and score the basketball. You know, Coach Sloan sat me down, was like, you know, here's the roster. What do you think of this roster? And so it had the first and last name, height and weight, where they were from or where they went to college, and then the salary. And you know, Coach Sloan said, what do you see on this roster? And I was like, well, I'm in the middle of the road. I make more money than a couple of guys on the bottom, and there's a lot of guys that make way more money than me. And he started laughing. It was like, well, that is true. What else do you see on the roster? I go, well, one of, 3 guys that are from the South, a couple Europeans. He's like, okay, Ronnie, I see you're very paying close attention to detail, but that's not what I'm trying to get you to realize. And I was like, well, Coach, I really don't understand what you want me to look at. And, I'm looking at, guys that play in the SEC, guys that play in Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12. I just kept on going to different scenarios. He goes, Ronnie, my point I'm trying to make to you is we have guys on this team that average a certain amount of points, a certain amount of rebounds, a certain amount of assists, steals, or whatnot. He's like, guys that shoot a certain field goal percentage, certain 3% percentage, certain free throw percentage. But one thing that we don't have on this roster is a guy that can defend. We have nobody that can put in there other than Andre Kirilenko to go out there and try to stop somebody on the defensive end. So if you can find a way to be a defensive guy, you'll be on the floor quicker than if you think you're going to come in averaging 20 points per game. And in my head, I was like, what are you talking about? I averaged 30 points in the high school, I averaged 19 in college. I'm supposed to do the same thing in the NBA. And, I played that role for a long time. Like, I get in the game, I'm trying to go get buckets. That's what I do. And I played sporadically my rookie year. And the times I played a lot and the games I started, it's kind of started or happened after one game in LA. We were playing the Lakers. And granted, there's only been like 5,000 people that's ever played in the NBA, ever in the history of the NBA. And, getting paid what you get paid and watching like a guy like Kobe Bryant, like your role model as a kid. And if you're not in the game, you probably got the best seats in the house. You got courtside seats. And so me, Paul Millsap, D Brown, we were rookies that year. And we were just enjoying the show. Kobe Bryant's having a heck of a game. The second quarter, he goes crazy. I think he scores 30 points in the second quarter alone. And we're like, man, this is like literally watching like a video game, but in real life. And I remember going into halftime and Coach Sloan comes in there and he throws his book. He's screaming and yelling and basically calling everybody else, challenging their manhood. It's like, oh, you're scared of Kobe Bryant, you're scared to guard him. And at the time, we had Derek Fisher, who was our starting 2 guard, and Darian Williams was our point guard, and Andre Kirilenko, and then Matt Harping was playing a lot. And those were primarily the defenders on them. All real good defenders, but people got to understand Kobe Bryant scored 81 points in the game before. And so he's capable of scoring outrageous numbers. And so he's going down the line saying, you're scared of him. You're scared of this person. You're scared of this person. He comes to me. He was like, man, and you're scared of Kobe too. And I was like, it's like, no, like, no. And I told him, he was like, what is that face for? So Coach, man, I'm not really scared of no man. I'm not scared of no man. I said, I respect Kobe Bryant, but I'm not scared of anybody. I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared about this team. For dang sure not scared about a person I don't even know. He looked at me and I was straight faced. Like, I was like, I wasn't playing anyways. What's the worst that could happen? Not play me less? I've already said I'm big. So he was like, no, you're scared of him. And I was like, Coach, man, I'm not scared of anybody. I'm not saying I'm better than Kobe because I'm obviously not. I was like, but I know my mentality. I got to outwork my opponent. So I'm going to challenge every single thing anybody throws at me. So that's just who I am, and that's how I was built. I feel like coming from Arkansas, you're out the mud. You have to fight a little bit more just to get where you need to go in life. And so he kept on messing with me, and I was like, dude, I'm not scared of him. And so he was like, okay, well, you're starting after halftime. Granted, I hadn't played a lot. I hadn't started games. And for him to start me in the second half after he had 30-something points in the first half, I was like, dude, my mentality was like, what's the worst thing that happened? I'm not going to allow him to score 81 points because I'm going to foul out before he scores 81. And if he scores a lot of points up until that point, he's supposed to, because the rim is probably like as big as the ocean because he's been cooking already.
Yeah.
But I challenged every shot. I made him work on every shot. I just stayed to my fundamentals and made him work for every shot. And, after the game, he just came up to me and was like, dude, I love your competitive nature. You weren't talking trash. You just brought your lunch pail and came to work. He's like, you're ready when your name was called. He's like, that's going to allow you to be in the league for a long time. You stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And that stuck with me because that goes a long way on any profession, and in life. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, and you're ready for anything that's thrown your way. So that's something that stuck with me and kind of changed my life and my career.
I love it. I'm going to take that as a takeaway. I usually try to take a whole lot every episode, but this one, that one I need for myself and for others. I will share, but I definitely need that one.
Yeah. So, hey, and thanks again, man. This was great.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. This was, I'll tell you, I learned a lot. And being from Arkansas, I'm a huge fan. I haven't been to Arkansas. Yes. I haven't lived there in 13 years. So, but just went there recently for like 3 weeks a 3-week trip. It was cool being back. So huge fan, love seeing what you're doing. I see a lot of players go pro, come back and give back to the state. And that's what I love, because Arkansas, like you said, has always been the underdog, especially when you live with someone from Alabama. Because
stop.
They just like roll tide all day. So Arkansas has always been the underdog. So I love seeing this stuff, man. Best wishes for you with coaching and everything you got going on, and
continue to bless those kids with your love, because that's what I feel from you, is that love, that spirit of caring, commitment to the kids. So continue with that. It radiates miles and miles and miles. And we appreciate all that you're doing for the youth and for Arkansas.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. All right. Have a great day.
All right. Y'all too, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.